Good afternoon, and welcome to the Office of the Prime Minister for a special call briefing to the press by the Minister of National Security, providing an update on investigations being held under the remit of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Earlier today, the members of the press, and by extension, the wider Bahamian community, would have received an update from the Chief Passport Officer, Nicholas Simonet, and today, following that update, is an update by the Minister of National Security, Minister Wayne Munro, providing an update on the investigation. I now invite to the podium Minister of National Security, Wayne Munro.
Thank you, Latre, and good evening, Bahamas. I'm here to update you, the Bahamian people, on the passport fraud investigations, the evidential findings that have emerged, and the enforcement action already taken. It is the responsibility of the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to ensure that Bahamian passports are only issued to and used by Bahamian citizens. The Passport Office utilizes robust verification processes, strong operational systems, and interagency coordination to meet that responsibility. Every new passport application passes through 8 stages of review, and every renewal must go through at least 6 verification steps. These checks include documentation validation, identity verification, and cross-checks against information already held in the passport system. If something does not add up at any stage, the application is stopped, investigated further, and where appropriate, referred to law enforcement. The Passport Office uses the EPICS Passport Management System in order to track the full history of an application, to flag suspected fraudulent documents, and to make a record of internal reviews and decisions. Under this administration, the Passport Office has intensified cooperation and coordination with agencies across the government, including with my ministry, the Ministry of National Security, with the Department of Immigration, the Office of the Attorney General, the Registrar General's Department, the Parliamentary Registration Department, the Ministry of Health, and the Road Traffic Department, as well as other agencies. We do not act in silos. Regular technical meetings ensure that there is a consistent approach to document verification and help to reduce vulnerabilities that might be exploited by individuals seeking to obtain identity documents fraudulently. The policies I am describing represent deliberate efforts to strengthen our system, and they are the reason that successful prosecutions are happening. In 2019, a policy decision was taken by the previous FNM government in Cabinet Conclusion CO 1121 to reduce the renewal requirements to a completed application form, the existing passport, a photograph, and an NIB smart card. That decision removed the full re-verification discipline the system was designed to carry out. It limited deeper document review. It weakened research into supporting records. It reduced the Passport Office's ability to verify identity, test citizenship claims, and apply the scrutiny required to protect the integrity of the passport system. It removed, in effect, an audit check that the renewal process was performing previously. These changes made our system less secure, and this administration has discontinued that approach and taken corrective action. Full verification procedures were reinstated. The Passport Office also restored fuller use of the EPICS Passport Management System, strengthened internal monitoring, improved fraud detection, and ensured suspicious application and documents were properly flagged. Those are the very steps that expose the gaps now under investigation. So it's important to understand this clearly. The cases that are coming to light because the system was tightened, because scrutiny was restored, and because this administration put back the steps and checks that had been stripped away. In other words, the weakness was inherited, and the exposure to that weakness came because the system was repaired. We find the fault because we repaired the system. Now let's talk about the investigation itself. The Passport Office referred 98 suspected cases to the Royal Bahamas Police Force for investigation. 98. Those referrals were generated through the internal reviews I spoke about earlier. Each referral involves a police report, a sworn statement outlining the findings of the Passport Office, and a detailed internal audit showing the processing history within the passport system. That, my friends, is a serious evidential package. That is a structured investigative referral. That is what responsible enforcement looks like. The investigators' findings show that persons were flagged for obtaining Bahamian passports without lawful entitlement through fraudulent marriages, fraudulent birth certificates, fraudulent naturalization records, false citizenship and immigration documents, and failure to follow the formal legal adoption process. At this time, 27 persons were arrested, and those 27 persons were charged and placed before the courts. Of those matters, that they result in 21 cases that were actually reported. Some of them have multiple defendants. And 2 convictions have already been secured in matters where the suspects pleaded guilty. 1 plea agreement is being finalized, and the remaining matters are pending trial. That is what active criminal enforcement efforts look like. The papers also show that between January and April 2025, a series of charges were brought against 4 employees and associate individuals in connection with these matters. On the 15th of April 2025, 4 Passport Office employees were formally charged in relation to the investigation. This was reported in the press previously. They are Thea Hall, Kalia Smith, Latoya McCartney, and Laverica Gator. The case status material also shows that these matters have been adjourned across a number of months, from this month, March, April, May, June, and July of 2026, either for trial or for a change of plea or for mention or for further proceedings, with bail granted in several of the matters, with electronic monitoring ordered in at least 1 of the cases. All of the other cases remain under active police investigation. The underlying documents involved in these matters tell their own story. The case sheets refer to citizenship certifications and immigration letters, certificates of registration, NIB smart cards, birth certificates, marriage certificates, driver's license, voters' cards, Bahamian birth records, and affidavits. The matters that in fact matters because it shows that the investigative net has had to reach across multiple forms of civil documentation and also across multiple agencies. This is exactly why the reinstated process now includes tighter coordination across the whole of government. Several case examples make the point even more sharply. In one matter, a marriage certificate said to have been issued in Haiti was relied upon to support entitlement to citizenship. Yet checks by immigration, including flight movement records, showed both parents were in the Bahamas on the alleged date of the marriage that was said to have taken place in Haiti. In another matter, a fraudulent naturalization certificate and a false immigration verification was used to support issuance of a passport. In another, records indicate a person first obtained a passport in 2009 using multiple fraudulent documents, and that passport was later renewed in 2022 under the weakened 2019 framework without full verification of supporting materials. These matters came to light because the resort procedure and cross-agency verification began testing these underlying documents and records again. And let me be clear, there is a presumption of innocence, but the matters have been referred to the court, and those are the allegations in the matters currently before the court. I want to note one thing. I am, as Minister of National Security, I have oversight both of the Royal Bahamas Police Force and the Parliamentary Registration Department. The leader of the opposition, who is no stranger to me, I'm no stranger to him, has never approached me to share his concerns, to find out what would have been happening in these matters, or for that matter, to raise any matter related to the parliamentary registration process. Instead of doing that which is obvious, he chose to put on a show in the House of Assembly, waving pieces of paper and talking aggressively. Instead, he just made a bunch of noise, and making noise about problems that were made worse by his party's own decision to weaken the process. He was a member of the cabinet when that cabinet conclusion was made. He played a part in reducing the renewal requirements. He played a part in creating this gap. He played a part in reducing the system's ability to check and verify. And then when this administration restored scrutiny, found the suspicious files, referred the matter, and worked with the police to pursue charges, he, who was an active participant in removing the guardrails, gets up in the House of Assembly and starts waving papers. And moreover, the papers that he waved simply demonstrate quite eloquently by their allegation that the work of the Passport Office and law enforcement was and is paying off. He is actually trying to turn an active criminal investigation over a very serious matter into political theater, almost perfectly aligning with his work called politics. This government, however, will take a different course. We will let the police complete their work. We will let the prosecutorial process run its course. We will support the court in bringing these matters to lawful conclusions. And we will continue to strengthen the system until every gap is found and closed. Let me also say this plainly to anyone who believes the system can still be manipulated. The Passport Office has shown that where wrongdoing is identified, matters will be referred. The police have shown that where evidence supports charges, charges will be brought against whomsoever the evidence leads. If you seek to obtain that passport by fraud, the system will expose you. If you facilitate fraud from inside or outside the system, you will face investigation and prosecution. The Bahamian people should take reassurance from the facts. These investigations show that the government addressed a weakness, restored safeguards, opened the file, followed the evidence, and acted, and continues to act. The investigations show public officers doing their duty. They show investigators building cases, and they show our country, this great country of ours, defending the values of its passport and the good name of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Thank you very much, and are there any questions?
Yes, the leader of the opposition stated that there was more than 250 cases. However, the passport chief officer said today that's 98, as well as you said yourself. Why the discrepancy? What is the actual number? 98?
Well, he waved around a piece of paper that had 74 on it. What was tabled had 74. The difficulty when you're dealing with somebody who practices theater and is acting, it's difficult to know why. If you listen to the House, he said nearly 300 or 300. When the speaker put 300 to him, he said he never said 300. We do not know where he got the pieces of paper from. We do not say that the pieces of paper he has refers to anything in particular, but having tabled it as Minister of National Security and the person with oversight of the police and parliamentary, I had a duty to make inquiries. We made inquiries, and we found that what he excited himself about was something that had happened over a year and a quarter ago, because persons were arraigned as long ago as April 2025.
More questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, members of the press. That brings us to a close of our press briefing.